Hey crafters, this year we're handing out gift cards in style with these easy pop-up gift card holders. You can make them for Christmas and birthdays or literally any occasion at all. They have a magnetic closure to keep them closed, and they're a great way to present a gift that can often feel impersonal. So let's head into the craft room and get started. We'll start out by grabbing a copy of the free SVG I have for this project by heading over to my website, dustybluecottage.com, and we'll go over here to the resource area. And this is where you'll find the free SVGs that I have for you all to use. And the one we're looking for is this one right here, the gift bag pop-up card. So we'll go ahead and click on that and then download it to the computer. Like always, you will be able to find a list of the supplies that I've used for this video in the description box below. But I chose these 3 sheets of cardstock from my paper pack because I thought they coordinated really well together. So I'll use one for the outside of the card, one for the inside of the card. And then I'm going to use this tree paper to be the gift bag portion of the pop-up card because I want it to pop just a little bit when the card is open, so I'm adding more color. And then of course we will need a piece of white cardstock for our base. Let's head into Cricut Design Space and we will open up a new project canvas. Then we will select upload image. And then here you're going to browse for wherever you have your file downloaded. And your file should look like this and say pop-up gift bag card SVG. Once it pops up here in Cricut Design Space, we can click upload, click on the image and hit add to canvas. And now what you're going to want to do is click on the grouping of items and then go up and hit ungroup. Now there's a couple really quick steps you need to go through before you start cutting. And the reason for this is when you import SVGs into Cricut Design Space, these lines, like on this SVG that we need to be score lines, are going to show up as a cut line. Let me show you. If we were to click Make It right now, you'll see on this blackboard right here, all of these little cut lines. Well, we don't want cut lines right there. We need those lines to actually score onto the paper. So in order to change them all to score lines, we're going to have to ungroup these. And I'm just going to come over here and hide the pink layer. Highlight all of these lines together. And then up here, I'm going to change them from basic cut to score lines. And then I'm going to go ahead and unhide the pink again. So now you can see those are all on here as individual score lines and not as cut lines anymore. Then we'll go ahead and highlight that whole section again and hit attach. Now this way, when we go to cut, those will come through as score lines. So just to prove my point that it worked, we'll click Make It. Click on the pink mat. You'll see all of our score lines are in place right where we need them to be in order to make the project. And then if you'll notice, this section here also has the basic cut lines that we need to turn into score lines. So again, we're going to ungroup that. I'm going to hide the yellow layer, highlight these two, change them to score lines, unhide my yellow layer, select all of it, and attach. Now you have the score lines directly where you need them. Now let's run through what each of these colors represents in this SVG file. Now for the yellow section, I recommend having that be a solid color. And then if you're going to use any type of pattern, you use it with the other layers of the card. This just kind of gives it a more cleaner look so you don't have pattern on top of pattern. So when I choose the way my card's going to look, the yellow is always going to be a solid color. This little square right here is where we're going to type our sentiment for the card, and that you can type out of whatever. I also recommend solid for this one too. Just that way when you put it on the card, it's solid and the sentiment is easier to read. Now the area where you're going to have a little more fun is in choosing your orange and your yellow. One of those is going to be on the outside of the card. One is going to be on the inside of the card. You can choose the same pattern for that. You can choose two different patterns, whatever you'd like. And then of course you can have a third pattern using the pink. So this card gives you an opportunity to play with a lot of different fun pattern papers, as you'll see as we start cutting the project. Now this SVG file comes with this little sentiment piece right here where you can put anything you'd like. You could rubber stamp a saying on here, but I'm going to go ahead and add a saying with a Cricut pen. So I'm just going to go over here to text. And I'm just going to simply, for this example, do Merry Christmas. And let's find a fun font to use. I'm going to filter this by writing fonts just to eliminate some that we don't need to look at. And let's just use this, Merry Holiday, just because it's cute and it's fun. We'll go ahead and change it to that. And then we'll drag it down and size it to our sentiment piece. And center it. And you can see it's showing up as a basic cut line. So we want to go up here and switch it to pen so that it's written. Gonna highlight both of them. And then as they are both highlighted, you want to click attach. That way the writing will be on that piece of paper when we do our cutting. So we're going to click Make It. And the first mat that comes up now is the pink mat, which is the paper that we are using for the bag on the inside of the card. Now, if you are using a patterned paper for this pink layer like I am, make sure you put it on your mat up and down so that it will show up correctly on the bag once it's cut and folded. And we'll select Continue. And I am using a medium cardstock, so I will select that. Now you'll notice it tells you to have your scoring wheel and clamp B, and you can see on the screen where if you're having trouble knowing which is which, your scoring wheel shows the 001. The scoring wheel shows the 001 right on the end right there. So I'm going to go ahead and put in my scoring wheel and feed the paper in. And then we can press go. And our scoring wheel is going to go across each of these lines, making the paper easier for us to fold. Now, if you'll notice on our screen, it says we need the fine point blade in clamp B. So we're going to take our scoring wheel back out and put our fine point blade back in. and click go. And then we can unload this mat. And you can see then we have the piece of cardstock that will become our gift bag, and the holes are at the top. So when this is put in the card and it's standing up, the trees are standing in the right way. So we'll go ahead and set this to the side, and we can see on the computer screen that the next color we are going to be putting in is our orange, which is the outside of our card. And for the outside of my card, I'm using this gold foil paper. And as you can see, it does have a pattern, but it's not a pattern that has a direction to it. It doesn't look any different this way than it does this way. It's a random pattern. So we don't need to worry about exactly how that's placed on the mat. But we'll go ahead and load it into our machine, and we will hit go. Couple places where it's stuck. Might need to sharpen my blade here a little bit. So we'll pull these three off. And we'll set these three pieces off to the side. Now for the yellow layer, this is what our card background is going to be, the base of the card. So we will be cutting that out of the white cardstock. And the first thing that we need to do is make sure the scoring wheel is in place, which I have loaded that, and press go. And then we can take out our scoring wheel and put our cutting blade back in. Now for the last piece of cardstock, which is our green piece, this is the cardstock that is going to be on the inside of the card. So I want the trees to all face in the same direction. The way the pattern is laid out, the direction for the cardstock will go the way you can see the arrow going. So you'll want to make sure that you put your cardstock where it goes top to bottom, which means as this is the front of the mat going into the machine, I need to lay this cardstock going this way, because this is my top, my middle, and my bottom all in the same direction. So we will go ahead and load the Cricut and cut this last piece out. The last piece that we need to cut is the purple layer, which is our sentiment piece. I will be cutting this out of white cardstock, and as you can see over here, we're going to need our pen plus the blade to do the cutting. So we'll go ahead and hit continue, and you can see that it wants us to load the black pen in clamp A, and of course you can use whatever color you want. And it's also telling you to load the fine point blade into clamp B. So I have my pen loaded now and loaded the paper, so we can hit go. Now we have all our pieces cut, and we have them laid out like this, so we can go ahead and put our card together. So the first thing you're going to do is go ahead and make these score lines. Go ahead and fold the card at the score lines. And I do just like to take this and run it. So we have the basic part to our card like that. So now you have your inside and your outside. Now I'm going to hold the project together today with some double-sided tape, because that's what I have out. So I'm just going to go ahead and put a little bit of tape on the back of each of our sections. Now we need to start applying our pieces to the card. Now for the outside of the card, we are using this pattern. So I'm going to start with applying this end piece on. And we're just going to eyeball it here and get it centered on our card. Then we'll put our middle piece on. And we're going to hold off on this piece, and I'll show you why in a couple minutes. And on this, we're going to put the inside of the card on. And you can see as I lay this piece out, since it was patterned, like we had talked about, now all of the trees are facing in the right direction. And this top piece of the inside, as well as the bottom piece of the outside, we're going to set aside for a minute, and they'll come into play shortly. And for the gift bag portion now, we're going to go ahead and make our creases. This first end you're going to fold over at the first part, make a crease, then you're going to fold it down so that it's like an accordion here. And on the other side, there's only one wing on this side, so we'll fold it inside, press it a little bit. Each of our bottom pieces fold towards the inside. And we'll take a line of our tape, and on this end that has the two pieces, we're going to put the tape on the outside piece. And then we'll go ahead and fold our top pieces. And now we're going to put our handles on the bag through the holes here. So I'm going to be using some jute twine, and I'm going to make a knot in the one end of it. And I'll cut off a length here and make a second one. Get these approximately the same length. And we'll feed the one end through the hole, making sure we don't come all the way out. And I'm going to secure this end with a little piece of our tape. And I'll feed this through here, and then we can determine about how much we want left out for the handle. Take it to about there, and then I will make a knot in this end. And take a little piece of tape and use it to hold down this piece. And then we're going to repeat the same on the other side. And now that we have our handles in place, we will put a line of our tape across the top portions of the inside of the bag. And we'll fold down both of our tops. Got a little wrinkle there, but that's okay. That's on the inside, but we'll just apply some pressure there, and same thing here. Okay. Now we can remove the piece of tape from our inside accordion fold there. And fold this piece over. And seal them together. So now we have our gift bag. Now to adhere the gift bag to the card, we need to put a piece of tape at the bottom of each wing of the card. And then we're going to place our card right in the center of the fold on the inside. So you're going to put it right up to that fold and close your card over and press. Now when we open our card, our gift bag is right in place where we need it to be. Now these two pieces that we set aside are going to come into play right now, but we leave them till the end because your gift bag is going to be pretty thick and it is going to affect how your card folds over. So that's why you want to do this step at the very end after you have put your gift bag inside. I apologize for the fact that the whole project has changed color on us here, but I noticed that my camera had stopped filming. So I have another card that I had started and I thought we'd finish this one up together so you can see the rest of the process. Now this one, as you can see, is going to be a birthday card. And I added a little bit here onto the front by changing to a blue pen with a gold outline just to kind of make it a little bit snazzier. Now for the final part of this card, we're going to be using two very teeny tiny little magnets that are super strong. You can see just how strong they are. And I will have the link to these magnets in the description box below, along with the rest of the supplies needed. But these magnets are what is going to hold our card together for us. So the next step is to go ahead and secure the magnets. I'm going to take a little piece of the double-sided tape here. And I'm going to put one of our magnets right onto the double-sided tape to hold it in place. We will attach the other magnet to the top. And then I am going to take the tiniest little piece of the two-sided adhesive and put it onto the back of that magnet. Push it over to close and press it good. And separate the two. And this one did come off, but you can see, I don't know if you can see it, on the tape here, you can see where the circle was, where it was at. So we can just go ahead and put it right back into place. Now I'm just going to put a piece of the two-sided tape down over top of our magnet just to secure it a little bit more. And we'll do the same thing on the top flap here. And then I like to be extra careful with these magnets since they are super strong. And I'm going to put another piece of tape crisscrossed on here. But we're just going to be extra cautious with these tiny magnets and make sure they're stuck down really good. And then I already have adhesive on the back of these pieces. And we're going to put them down, press them into place. Same thing on here. Press it into place. And now we have our card that will snap shut, so you don't have to worry about it opening up on you. And you could, of course, go ahead and make an envelope if you want for this card. I like to fill this little gift bag with a little bit of tissue paper or the crinkly filler paper that you have for packages, and then slide the gift card right in there, and you have a great presentation for a card. I sure hope you found this tutorial helpful. If you did, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next time in the craft room. Take care.